Thank you so much for coming today. Before we get started with our caucus package, I just wanted to take the opportunity to have each of our caucus members introduce themselves. We have 4 new members of our caucus this year. We tripled in numbers after this November, so I wanted you to meet each and every one of them. So we'll start with Representative David Alcos.
Hello everyone, my name is David Alcos. I represent District 41 in Eva Beach, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. Aloha.
Aloha everyone, my name is Kanani Souza and I represent District 43 out in Kapolei and Makakilo. I look forward to working with everyone this session. Mahalo nui.
Aloha everybody, my name is Elijah Perrick. I'm representative from District 39 for Eva Beach, Waipahu, Kunia, and Waikele. Aloha.
Aloha, Representative Diamond Garcia, District 42, Kapolei, Ho'opili, and Eva.
Hello, I'm not new, but I'm still learning. Gene Ward from Hawaii Kai.
Hawaii deserves leadership that is willing to work together for the people in our state. And although our caucus is few in numbers, we are committed and we have passion to get things done, and we actually have a lot to bring to the table. So what we're going to be covering today is our caucus package. And the main issues that we're looking at this session is addressing the high cost of living, assisting our local families towards home ownership, implementing government reform, keeping our families safe, being tough on crime while focused on rehabilitation, as well as supporting rights of people to make decisions for themselves. So I'm proud to stand among each of our colleagues today. The first thing that we're going to talk about is home ownership. Home ownership is unattainable for a majority of people in Hawaii. It is a pipe dream. There are so many obstacles towards home ownership that we think making this a top priority is something that is really important. I'm going to introduce Rep. Garcia now, and he's going to take you through our 3 bills that we're putting in towards assisting families towards home ownership.
Thank you, Minority Leader. Aloha, everyone. To go over briefly the 3 bills that's addressing our housing crisis in Hawaii. One of the most important population group here in Hawaii is the host culture, our Native Hawaiian people. And as the House Republican Caucus, we want to make sure that that is a priority for us. Addressing Hawaiian homelands, DHHL, the wait list. 100 years, 28,000 on a wait list who are still waiting for the state to do their job. So what we're doing in order to help people, one of the biggest hurdles for most waitlisters is that when their name is called, they can't get a home because they don't qualify for a mortgage. So how do we fix that? What can we do now? We're filing a bill this week as a caucus that will simply monetize the lease value. As of right now, the lease is antiquated. It's the same lease from 1920 when the department was founded. There's no value to the lease. The lease is a 100-year lease, 99 years to be specific, $1. What they'll be able to do is take this lease to the bank. Because there's 99 years, there's value to the lease. We're going to add value to that lease so that each Hawaiian homesteader can get a mortgage and get into housing. That's number 1. Number 2, we are going to be creating a local housing market. What that means is when we use public funding, state funding to build affordable housing, we want to tie that into the local AMI, the area median income for the area, the AMI. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that when people purchase a home at an affordable rate, when they sell in 10, 15, 20 years down the road, they will sell only in the AMI that they purchased that home in. It stays in that AMI to keep housing affordable in Hawaii. That's number 2. Number 3, we are proposing a down payment savings plan. One of the biggest hurdles for local families here in Hawaii is they can afford the mortgage each month because oftentimes it's the same as rental. the rental price each month. But the biggest hurdle is they can't afford down payment here in Hawaii. And so what we're trying to do to combat this is to allow for down payment assistance, to create a savings account on your paycheck. So when you receive your paycheck, before taxes is taken out, you can appropriate money from your monthly income towards a savings account to go towards down payment, so that in 5, 10, 15 years, you will have that chance to have 40, 50 grand to put down towards a home. So our caucus is very focused in addressing Hawaii's housing crisis, and so those are 3 bills addressing those issues this session. Mahalo.
Thank you, Rep. Garcia. I'd also like to mention that Representative Garcia is our House Minority Floor Leader. The next issue we're going to go over is the cost of living in Hawaii. And we all know people in Hawaii so often are living paycheck to paycheck. And for decades, the Republican Caucus has been focused on cost of living issues. And it's something that is top priority. Every year we send out surveys to the community, and cost of living every single year comes in as one of the top issues. And so to talk about that today, we have Representative Elijah Perrick.
Aloha. Can y'all hear me? Okay. The three bills our caucus is introducing address the cost of living. They include GED exemption on food and medical services. This would exempt food and medical services from the general excise tax because these types of taxes are regressive and disproportionately affect low-income households. The latest Consumer Price Index saw a 10% increase on all food prices in the last year. If food was excluded from the excise tax, an average of 2-person family would save at least $400 per year. Larger families would save even more. In Hawaii, food is a major cost for most families. 32 states have already implemented similar updates to what can be included and have removed food from the excise tax. The exemption of specific items would also include medical services, dental services, and other major expenses for local families. 41 states already exclude medical and dental expenses from their excise tax to help alleviate this burden and ensure care is accessible and affordable for local families. We also want to eliminate income tax for all but top earners. Eliminates the income tax for those whose incomes are less than $150,000 for single, $300,000 for married, and $225,000 for head of households. The average household income in Hawaii is $83,000. If we eliminate the income tax, this would make almost $15,000 available for households. So we're helping families and stimulating our economy. Under our plan, 97% of Hawaii residents would get tax relief. We also want to create a state holiday on taxes. This creates a 3-day shop for local and save sales and uses the tax holiday to benefit all Hawaii families, applicable for certain items valued $2,000 or less during the month of September. A holiday from taxes would allow families to purchase essential items such as school supplies, computers, backpacks, and other necessities. This provides tax relief to all residents of all income levels. Mahalo.
In addition to the cost of living, another issue that we felt was really important was ensuring that the rights of people are there, that people can make decisions for themselves and for their families. And so to talk about these different areas of where we think rights need to be reinstated is Representative David Alkos.
Aloha. And this is 3 of our caucus package that we have, another 3. Let's see. There are 3 bills of our caucus introducing the address and personal rights includes the rights to try, allows manufacturers and experimental drugs or biological products to make their drugs immediately available to terminal ill patients under certain conditions, offers the potential of patients to reduce pain, suffering, and possibility of extending their life. It helps strengthen the patient trust and health system because there is no hope. There is no hope or any other things to save their life. So we're trying to try new drugs in helping them with their conditions, helping them with their families. So trying a new product would bring new resources to our families if it works. Another one is parental rights. I propose a conditional amendment that would add local elected school boards throughout the state. In each county, the State Board of Education would also become elected positions. So we're just looking at the counties to have their own school elected areas that they can control their own counties and have their own thoughts on how they are being brought up in their community. So not every community is the same, and we're looking that each educational school follows under the guidelines that can start teaching their own kids some of their ways of how they want to implement into their schools. And workers' rights. Create a task force to study feasibility, instructing Hawaii version of our occupational license consumer choice of act. This model would legalization and aim for providing consumers the ability of choice whom to receive goods and service from, regardless for whatever the seller provides is a license to buy regulation agency in Hawaii. So it would help a lot of companies and small businesses to move forward and get their license to help, especially with our COVID situation that we've been through. We need more companies to come up and start bringing back finance and monies and help families to come back and to survive in the state of Hawaii. So this bill of rights would help a lot of people. So that's what we're looking at. Thank you.
Next, as we all know, our government in Hawaii has really lost the trust of the people. And government reform is imperative and something that our caucus is really looking at and really focusing on. So to hone in on the three bills that we're discussing today, I'm going to bring up Representative Ward.
Do we need ethical reform in the state of Hawaii and the government of Hawaii?
Yes.
You know how popular this body is that we're standing in front of as this August day of our press conference? 18% of the people of Hawaii approve of what we're doing, 18%. Some of you remember a couple of us went to jail, a couple of our colleagues. And because of that, there was a standards of conduct task force, commission that was put together. We have adopted all of those into an omnibus bill. And I want to point out a couple of them because they are redundant with our package. First is term limit. How many people want term limits? I think it's in the 60s and the 70 percentile. How many years has it been brought up in this election, in these halls of the Senate and the House? Many, many years. It's time that we have ethical reform given what we're doing. And by the way, I'll probably be termed out because of that. Not that this is altruism, but it means we bring in a new level of leadership. The other thing is, some of you, particularly in the press, say, why are you guys making decisions out in the hallway? Why don't you make decisions in public? Those are some of the reforms that we want to see where there's transparency, whether it's in person or whether it's over Zoom, that people will know what the logic is of killing a bill, not killing it in private for some purposes, but doing it publicly. Lastly, for integrity of our elections, we want to make sure at least the voter rolls are up to date. My constituents have said, I got 8 ballots in the mail. What do? 3 of them are dead and 5 of them have moved away. They have not kept the rolls as the law says they should. So there's a lot of things that we can do. I don't have time to go through all the ethical things, and probably the public would say, you're not going far enough. But hopefully this year, with our caucus and with these bills and with the omnibus, as well as the Democrats on the same side of the aisle, or the opposite side of the aisle with the same issues, We need reform. No more elections, no more legislators going to jail or be suspected of corruption. Thank you.
The last area of our caucus package is with crime. The phrase crime is an issue, doesn't even begin to address the severity of what's happening. And I talked about on the floor yesterday. Last week, there was a man who broke into a 77-year-old woman's home, pushed her down the stairs, and violently beat her. That man was a convicted murderer, and he was let out of jail. And this hits so close to home because that woman is my neighbor. Crime is in our backyards. This is something that is so important, and our communities are looking to us, to this body, to really make a difference and to really be tough on crime, but also focused on that rehabilitative piece. So to talk about the crime issues and the bills that we're going to be putting in, I'm going to bring up Representative Garcia.
Thank you, Leader. Crime is a big issue. Crime has been on the uptick these last 2 years here in Hawaii, and unfortunately, the direction that this building has been going in is a soft on crime approach. And in every state that's gone soft on crime, their crime numbers have just gone up, and that's been happening here in Hawaii. Currently, we lead the nation, the highest in the nation for property crimes. Why? Because we're soft on crime. We don't prosecute. They're arrested, they're let out. They can't post bail. They now have proposals to remove bail altogether. So what we're going to do here is introduce bills to get tougher on crime. As of right now, when you shoplift, if the value of what you take is below $750, guess what? Nothing happens. So what we're going to do is this: lower that threshold to back where it was before 2016 when this body changed that, back to $300. We're going to try and make that, because there are lots of folks who are walking out with TVs, with things of value which are under $750, and nothing happens to them. This is crazy. So we're having these bills to not just be tougher on crime, but also help small businesses as well. Also, a second bill we're doing is Stand Your Ground. Stand Your Ground. We believe in self-defense. We believe in the Second Amendment. We believe that if anyone is going to approach you and threaten your life, in this country, you have the right to use lethal force to protect yourself, your family, and property, period. That's the bill we're doing, Stand Your Ground. Third is rehabilitative mental health. Take a drive down to Mo'iliili. Walk on the sidewalks, Stadium Park. It's a homeless village. There have been people who have called my office recently who live out my district in Mo'iliili saying, I pay property taxes. That goes to the park, that goes towards all these services, yet I can't even walk on the sidewalk because it's an entire village. They're hanging their clothes on the fence like they live there. This is not okay. This is America, and that should not be happening on our streets. So we're going to have a bill addressing specifically those people who are chronically homeless, living on sidewalks, who are out there with mental illness. We need more money focused in that direction, addressing mental illness. So there'll be that bill to address that specifically. And if there are any questions on that bill, feel free to ask.
So we just covered the 15 bills that the Republican caucus will be introducing this year in our caucus package, focused on those issues of lowering the cost of living, addressing home ownership, really looking at the rights of people to make decisions for themselves, government reform, and looking to be tough on crime, as well as focus on rehabilitation. So with that, I would like to open it up for any questions that you may have. Hey, Chad.
Specifically to me. Could you identify? Oh, you're the head of it. You own Civil B, right? Oh, Chad, what is it? Sorry. You guys do good work.
My question is, you've adopted some proposals for the commissions.
Yes.
What do you think the chances are of a lot of those proposals winning this?
From our side of the aisle, the chances are very, very good, just like term limits. We've been putting in term limits since Sam Sloan was here, and they've never passed. So if it was up to us, if we were the majority, we'd say, hey guys, we're gonna have a lot of reform this session. But you know, there's a lot of pushback already from the other side. We will do as much as we can to speak out. We don't have the votes, but we've got the voice. And the public, and this is where, Chad, you guys come in, and the rest of the media, The public is saying you guys have not changed, even though we've told you to change. And as I said earlier, the trust in us has gone down. 18% approval rating. That shows that we're as bad as the U.S. Congress.
Okay, question. What do you mean pushback on Democrats?
Like term limits. Well, term limits comes up every time there's an election. Well, that's a nice wimpy excuse for not having term limits, saying 12 years, 16 years, etc. So the pushback is there's always a workaround, if you will, weaseling, squirming out of it. But these ethic things, look, when people go to jail, people start getting serious about who we are as people. The whole Martin Luther thing about the content of the character, we never looked at the character of a senator or a representative who, because they could kill bills privately, got away with it. We're saying, the public's saying, and we're agreeing with, let the sun shine in so we know who kills the bill, why it was killed, and it's not in the corridor, and it's not when the microphones are turned off so you guys in the media can't hear it, or the public, but it's where it's open and people understand it and they agree, and the trust will come back. So it's not lost, it's that we just need more trust. But we need the majority to get on board with where the people are, and that's where we are. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions?
On the crime bill that you're proposing, the $300 threshold, I'm a contractor. You go to a lot of convenience stores. I've made friends with hundreds of people that owns those mom and pop convenience stores. And they are, it's a magnet for homeless to come and sell. $300, easily a couple of sandwiches a day will never end up to be $300. But the problem with that is it sets a precedent. You can come here, eat whatever the hell you want, and go to town. And that it sets up a very dangerous environment. Sometimes I don't even want to go to convenience stores anymore. And I walk in and the owners will tell me, God, we are getting hit tremendously. So I'm just wondering about that $300 threshold. I know you mentioned about the TVs, but when it comes to maybe convenience stores, would they lower that? Or you feel like that was going to be too much opposition? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, I agree. If it was my choice, I would have a $1 threshold because theft is a crime. And if you break the law, you should be punished for it. In 2016, this building increased the threshold of arrest to a 750, and their reasoning was this. Guess what? Inflation. No, serious. That was their reasoning to increase the threshold. So we're just saying, let's revert back to 2016, and in a future session, let's focus on it again and bring it down even lower.
And I'll just add, while it might not address everything, taking it down to 300 is sending a message. And you might hear from the other side, taking it down to 300 seems extreme. So I think this is a great point to be able to talk about it and really look at all the issues that are facing our state and as well as our small businesses. Okay.
This is in accordance with HRS. This must be done electronic voting system and before certified election. This would be $1,500, and the documents would have to be assembled from multiple places. Why would I need to pay $1,500 to take a look at what should be a public record, should already be assembled? They will from the Republican Caucus request a copy of that report and make it available to
Of course we can request it. Now whether you get it is another issue, but your issue has been brought to court by this gentleman here's business, Civil Beat. You guys have been fighting the open records, you've been fighting 25 cents a copy, 50 cents a copy. So that's you're representing a lot of the frustration of the public. We want stuff, it takes time, and then we got to pay out our nose. So that's an issue that we can follow up. Thank you for the question. Chad, you want to say anything about that? Inform him of the lawsuits that you guys have been doing.
And I'd just like to add, one of the main parts of our package is really focused on that open records issue. And so that's something that we're looking into and addressing. Any other from the press? Okay, with that, thank you for joining us for our Republican press conference covering our caucus package. We'll be available individually if you have questions for us later. Thank you so much.